Hi, hello. Welcome to the fifth session on shell scripting, that is shell scripting for DBAs exclusively. So in the past four sessions, we have completely covered the basics on shell scripting, starting from, what are the prerequisites required for this complete course. And then we have also started understanding what is bash exactly and what are the different kinds of, shells available and what is exactly the shell and how do we execute commands, how do we write a basic script giving its executable permissions, and how do we schedule it through the cron tab. So, and how does a shell initialize this? That means whenever you log into the environment, you log into the Unix machines, what happens at the background in the bash environment? That means it will be running .bash underscore profile, and in turn it will be running .bash rc, and as soon as you log off it will run .bash underscore logout scripts. So these were the things that we discussed. Along with that, we have also seen how do we create global variables, local variables. Basically, global variables are the one which are pre-existing on the server as soon as you log in. Example, $shell, example, home, example, you can call ppid. So these are the global variables which are not intended to be used elsewhere in any of your scripting. So that's the reason these are the prerequisite, you can call as reserved variables. And that's what our discussion was. And along with that, we have also seen in the variables, if you want a variable value to be exported from one shell to the other shell, you will have to basically use export clause. So if you don't use it, we have literally seen when I moved from bash shell to the con shell, the variable value that I defined in the shell in the bash was not visible in con. But after I made or given that variable as an export, the same variable value is visible in the next shell as well. So we have seen them, and then we have also seen expansions, and wherein in expansions we were basically, we did understood what is this, how do we basically perform an arithmetic operations. We have understood what is backticks. That means if you want a command to be executed and the result of that command, if you wanted that to be stored into a variable, definitely you need something like this as an expansion. So we have seen all the list of expansions there, and then we have also understood what is alias. So in the aliases, we said that alias is a substitution for you if you have a set of commands to run on the operating system, and you can substitute that with a simple alias that you can create on the operating system. You create an alias, you run that alias, and everything is fine. So that's how the aliases will also work along with the expansions. So having said this, how can we basically, now we are going forward with regular expressions and grep examples and pattern matching. Basically whatever session we are going to deal now, this part of the session basically is very short. It is not as short as was you expect, but definitely it is short than the earlier session that we discussed. So these three topics are basically concentrating on filtering options. I'm just trying to summarize whatever we are going to deal or we are going to discuss going forward. What is that I'm saying is these three topics are going to help you to filter things easily. What is exactly the term called filtering? Possibly you guys will accept. Filtering is nothing but, if you have a part of word in your mind or a character in your mind, and if you wanted to search where is this character exactly in a file, there is one way of doing it in the VI editor, going to the search, isn't it? But opening an VI editor and searching for a file or a character will be very, very tedious, and it is not possible in the scripting process. Why? Scripting is a file which you wanted to make it as an automated run. But when you want that to be automated, how can you basically open a VI editor which requires an interaction with the user? In that case, if you wanted to go and search for an expression inside a file, it will be very, very tedious if you have only the knowledge on VI editor search skills. That's where this particular three topics will help you. How do you basically filter things whatever you require? First two topics will basically help you to filter things depending on few of the examples. If you have I will be discussing examples with the requirements that you might get in future. Definitely when we come to the 7th chapter and when we try to develop tools of our own, you will be facing these, or you will be definitely using these examples, whatever I'm going to discuss now. So first, majorly, you must be knowing what is grep. Grep is again a process of filtering, isn't it? But what are the different combinations of grep that you can use? What are the different syntaxes that you can use? How grep will be useful for you for multiple, scenarios that you will face in the real time is what we are going to see. So to tell you, we will quickly start with what is regular expression and what does it mean, and then for all these regular expressions, how do we combine that with grep command and make sure, or can we, how do we execute that to make sure we get the filtered output as per our requirement? That's what our discussion will be. So let us see that. Now let us move to grep regular expressions. So I'm redirecting myself to this. So as you see here, regular expressions. So what is that actually? So regular expression is nothing but a pattern that describes a set of string. For example, if you wanted to search ABC from a file, definitely ABC is what we call it as a regular expression. It might be a meta character, it can be anything, it can be digits, it can be special characters, it can be anything, uppercase characters, lowercase characters, anything. So as you see in the screen, so it can be set of characters. These are the operators that will help you to find a meta characters which are part of your regular expression. So please do not worry what is cap, what is hyphen, what is dollar, what is slash and followed by some word, and slash followed by less than symbol, slash followed by greater than symbol. These are the things which are important for you to go through, but you will be getting a very good idea of what are these regular expression meta characters I have listed here in the tabular format only after I discuss examples with you, so that you will get better knowledge on what is this first of all. Instead of me explaining these characters one after the other now, if I give you the examples, what are these exactly and how does they work exactly, then if I leave you to come back to this table and find these things, then that will give you a better insight of what are these, with respect to concepts I have made as a tabular format here. So what we do is, this is regular expression is nothing but searching for something in a file. Simple. So filtering for a word in a file is what called as grep command we use, and whatever expressions we try to filter, we call them as regular expressions, and for those regular expressions we can basically combine them with one or more of these meta characters which we have here. So why these meta characters are used, what is the purpose of the meta characters are used, is our examples discussion. So we know here grep searches for input files for the lines containing a match to the given pattern list. So whatever you tell the grep to go and search, basically it searches for that. So can you please tell me where is that you use grep very, very often? I'm sure you must be using it to find out the background process is running, whether listener is running, whether smon is running, whether pmon is running. How do you basically do that? You say ps-eaf or ps-ef pipe and then grep followed by the pattern whatever you wanted to search. That means let me actually log in to my server and show you what I meant. Then probably you would say yes, I use it very often. So I logged in here. So in case, for example, you don't have any database running at this moment, but still if you wanted to go and search for a background process which is with the name called smon, how do you do? You would just say ps-ef and you would say grep and then smon. What does it do? It will basically perform the first command that you have given to the left side of this pipe, and the output of this is given to this pipe. That means for the grep, this output has become an input. So that means from the list of background processes which are running, it will now try to go and search for a pattern called smon from this list. So it could not find smon anywhere. So that's the reason whatever command you have basically fired, only that command is there. Apart from that, there is nothing running at the background with the process list with the name called smon. This is what exactly the grep works. So I'm sure this is what you must have been using so far as a DBA to grep and see if the Oracle instance is running or not. Alright? Alright, having understood grep, now let us come back to our activity which will help you to understand What are the different meta characters I was speaking about here, and how do we use them in real time? So we are going to see how do we use grep with character classes, how do we grep with normal regular expressions, and we are also going to use how wildcards like backslash, forward by lesser than symbol and greater than symbol. These are the things that we have to understand, which are part of the meta characters list. See here, slash and less than, slash and greater than. What does these things exactly means, and how do we use it, is what we are going to understand with the list of activities that I have for you. So I'm going to execute them, and then I'm going to explain how the grep is useful, so that we will be definitely using them throughout writing scripts in our 7th chapter when we develop tools. And that's the reason the complete course is also defined in such a way that we define something, we learn something from the scratch one after the other, the basics of it. Then we are definitely going to use each of the discussion that we are going to do in our tools that we develop further. So now simply, how does grep work? In case if you wanted to go and see what are the list of in this particular file, you wanted to see where does the word called, or pattern I should say, regular expression called root will appear in this particular file. So what does grep does? Grep will basically carry this pattern, and it will go and try to search in this particular file line by line. It doesn't bother whether this root pattern is in the beginning of this particular beginning of the line, or in the mid of the line, or in the end of the line, or it can be anywhere. But exactly as you give here, it should compulsory go and search for a pattern that exactly matches what you give here. That's what it does, right? So in this particular file, it has found that root is the pattern that it can find in one line here, and there is another line where it can find root here. So this is how grep works, right? So if you wanted to know in which line numbers does these things appear, you can just simply say grep -n, and then followed by the same command. After, it will do the same job as grep root followed by the file name, but along with that, it is also telling you in which line numbers it has found it, because it might be very interesting for you to find in which file. I'm sure that it is fetching out these details from the same file name, but if you are able to identify the line number in this file also, it might be probably useful for you in future. So that's the reason pass -n, it will give you the line number where it has found the pattern inside this file. Alright, so this is one of the next one. And in case if you want to search everything inside the file except the pattern, that means it's an inverse law. You must have gone through the inverse laws many times. That means inverse is nothing but, if you have some pattern, everything apart from that pattern is what called as inverse law, or inverse search, whatever you do. That means I wanted to grep everything but not with root. Anything which is not having root in it. That means all the lines in this particular file which doesn't have the pattern called root. See, these are the number of lines which doesn't have the root pattern in them. That means out of all this list, these two rows are excluded from the output. That's what you can see here. So that is what we can use. -v is for inverse search. So apart from root, whatever you wanted to be the output, you can do that. This is the inverse way of searching using grep. Next, -i is something, it will go and search from the group of scripts. That means grep from a group of files. As you see on the screen, anything you wanted to go and search for the word called bash, but in the current directory, wherever you have the files with any name followed by sh, that means consider you have 20 different scripts in your directory, and from these 20 different scripts you wanted to identify where did I use the word or an expression called bash. If you have that way, if you wanted to do a search for a multiple files in a directory, this is the command that you have to use, -i, and followed by the pattern that I have given here. But I have all my scripts in scripting directory, and see here there are 2 files with the file names ending with .sh. So let me see it is clearly telling you in the script name called script1.sh I found the word called bash, And also in script3.sh I have found the word called bash. So grep is not only to search for a pattern in a file that you give, it can also search the pattern in the list of files that you give. So how do you give the list of files? It depends on what do you give in this particular, in this particular position. Alright, so now coming back to this. In case if you want to, from the list of things that you have got, in case if you have something to be excluded, so I'm using pipe again. It is as simple as that. For example, from this output, you wanted to see the lines without the word called bin. Do you have something like that? No. Every line that has been the output of this command has also got the word called bin. So if I inverse it, definitely there will not be any output at all. But if I say inverse anything which has got the word called ksh, it will give you the same output, because neither the first one has got the word called ksh or second one has got the word called ksh. So you can also use multiple greps in pipes, and according to your requirement you can basically use them. Fine? Right. Now let us come back to the another meta character to use called cap. We call it as cap. What does cap means? As simple as forwards, without the cap, let me try to execute this and then show you the result, and then with cap I'll try to execute and show you, then you will understand this much better. So I would just say grep, first of all, root followed by this, what will be the output. So it is going to search for this pattern in this complete file line by line, and it is going to show you the output. But if you replace this with cap and then the word, what does it do? It will basically go and search for all the lines in this file starting with the word called root. That means cap will make sure that you are searching for a pattern in the first part of the line, every line. Now if you see here, this line is starting with root, but this line is not starting with root. That means the output of this particular command should be only this row. Let us see. Perfect. So grep will only search for the pattern that you give. If you give cap, that means it will search for the pattern which is only in the beginning of the line. That means it will search each and every line, and if each and every line has got root in it as the first word in it, definitely it will be the part of the output. Alright, fine. Now the next one is, the next meta character that you have to learn is dollar. Now what does it do? Dollar, in the sense, as cap is to search for the first line or first word of the line, dollar is to search the last word of the line. So now say grep bash dollar and then this one, it will go and search for the word called bash that is ending in each and every line of this file. Now if you see, there are 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is ending with the word called bash. It doesn't basically search for the bash at every part of this line, every part of this particular file, but instead it will only search for the lines ending with the character or ending with the expression called bash. That's it. That is the meaning of dollar. But please see, position should be at the end after you give the expression here, and for the to search in the beginning of the line, it has to be cap. Alright, fine. Now coming back to the next one, in case if you want to search for a pattern, it can be anything which has got blank spaces on either side. That means before I do this, let me actually say, okay, let me actually copy it, and before I execute this one, let me execute just grep followed by slash and then this one. That means it will be going and searching for the pattern called slash in this complete file, right? So just give this. What is it doing? Wherever it finds slash, it has blindly given you as an output. Correct? That's what it does. But if you wanted to only go and get something which has got empty spaces on either side of slash, how do we do? You have to pass in w slash and then slash etc slash passwd. So as you see on the screen, what is that I saw? Where is the output? From where I did? Yeah, as you see here, see, after slash I don't want any characters to be there. That's what you have seen here. See here, I have a slash output, but on either side of slash I don't have any characters up there. So it has got some colon here, but there is no character at all. So grep-w can be used to search for a pattern if you wanted to, in case if that pattern should have some empty spaces on either side of it or some special characters on either side of it. That's what you have seen here. Alright, this is what -w will mean for you. Next, in case if you have set of characters to search in a file, you have to use square braces. This is another part. So in case, see here, let me execute it, then you'll understand it better. So in case if I wanted to search for the character called Y and also for the character called F, that means I wanted to search for two characters that is Y and F in this particular file. See the output. It has got the lines where it found Y. It has also got the lines where it has got F. So if you have set of characters to be searched in the file, then you have to use close braces in the grep. Fine? Right. Next. In case if you wanted to search for an expression which is starting with C and it has got three characters in it, but you're not sure what characters they are, but it will be definitely ending with H. This is how you have to use. And now you must be understanding what is the purpose of backward slash and less than symbol, and again backward slash plus greater than symbol. Now I have a dictionary words in which I wanted to grep this. So what is that I'm trying to do now? I'm trying to go and search for the dictionary words which starts with the character called C and ends with the character called H, but between C and H there should be only fixed three number of characters. Now if you see, these are the number of things that you found in the dictionary which is starting with C and it has got three characters in it and ending with H. Example, cloth, camp, canch, it can be anything like this. Hope you understood. But now, in case if you don't want to fix this length, in case if you wanted to see the total number of words without the fixed length, that means it can be 3 characters in between C and H, 5 characters in between C and H, or 10 characters in between C and H. How do we do? That's the next one. You have to just use star. So if you just say, let me copy this completely and then I'll edit it with this. If you just say C followed by it is starting with one character, after one character it can be any number of characters but ending with H. So if you have this, see what happens. Yes, it will also include other words also. See, the biggest words are also coming in because I said star. That means it will give you the list of files which are starting with C and ending with H, but in between C and H you said that simply use any number of characters. It can have any number of characters. Alright, this is the output and this is how grep works. So far what is that we have seen in the first two topics of this current session is how do we use grep whenever you are trying to search for some pattern in a file. Now the next part of the discussion is about pattern matching. So pattern matching is something which is not searching for something inside the file but searching for something with the file names. So it can be character classes and character ranges. These are the two subtopics. So for example, I don't want to go deep into this discussion, but these examples will help you to understand what these topics mean. For example, go to the directory called cd/etc. I'm sure you accept that etc has got many number of files. So how many number of files in it? Word count I'll do. So it has got 326 files or directories in this current location. So out of them, you wanted to list the directories, that means LD. Hope you must be knowing already. D in the ls command is to list out the directory names. But what are the list of directories you wanted to search? All the list of directories which are starting with A, B, C or X, Y, Z and then followed by any number. That means it should not basically list you the file name starting with D, E, F until W. Just say this. So you got all the list of files starting with A, good, starting with B, good, starting with C, that's good, and after A, B, C in the pattern I said again the words which are starting with X until Z, only those directories should be listed. So X, Y is also there. But after ABC, there are no directories which are starting with D until W. Did you observe this? This is the beauty. How do we basically use these syntaxes in Linux? This is what we call it as character ranging. So in case if you have a character ranges to be searched for the directory names, here I said LD. Instead of LD, if you just say LTR, it will search for the file names instead of directory names as well. So if I say here, let me see. So it has included directories along with characters also. See, that's what it did. So B, A, B, A. So these are the things. See, there are many lists of things. So this is how it works. Alright. So now the next one is character classes. You can basically search for the directory name which has got digit in its name. You can basically search for the directory name which has got uppercase in it. You can search for a directory name which has got space in its name. And similarly, if it has got a punctuation mark in it, if you wanted to go and see, and if it has got a lowercase in it, in case if you have these patterns in the file name and if you wanted to search, definitely you can do it. So this particular pattern search will help you to go and list out the directories which has got digit in its file name. See here, there is nothing inside this. So what I would do is, I would just say mkdir example 012. So I'm creating a directory with digit in it. Now if you say this, definitely, where is it showing? Okay, as I said, it has to start with the digit star here. But my directory name is not starting with a digit, it is ending with a digit. So my command has to be reframed like this. It has to be star followed by a digit. See here, it is giving you the list of directories in this current directory which are with anything but ending with digit. And similarly, if you want to search with the directories which has got lowercase in it, so you just say lower here instead of digit, you just say starting with any lowercase characters. If you wanted to search with all the directory names starting with lowercase characters, and it can be anything after the lowercase characters. See, it is showing you everything which is with the lowercase, and anything with the uppercase is basically excluded. To prove that, what I'll do is, if I say a directory with the uppercase, starting with uppercase, okay, and then it can be anything. Now if I search this, this should not be the output of it. See, it is not the output of this one at all, because the first characters of this directory name is in uppercase, but I'm trying to search everything starting with lowercase for each and every directory name. But if you just say ls-ltr, you will see this directory, but it will not be the output of this particular command. This is what we call it as character pattern, or character pattern ranges is what we have seen earlier, and this is what character classes. It can only in the POSIX, it can only actually accept these are the characters classes that you can pass inside this double braces. That's it. So with this, we are concluding this particular session. That means we have completed 2 chapters in this complete course. And in the next session, we are going to see an interactive editing in a GNU and a non-interactive editing. These 2 will be our next discussion for the next session. And then the rest part of the 3rd chapter will be the other session. That means this is the 5th session, and the 6th session will basically include GNU, and then 7th session will basically help you to understand awk. And please remember, awk is again going to be our very, very important part of the discussion, because awk can do wonders, and for every requirement that you try to find in scripting, I'm sure you will identify that awk has got the solution for you. So that important awk will be, so we will better come to when we come to awk, we will spend enough time with multiple range of examples. Along with knowing what it is, we should also be able to perform multiple examples so that it becomes easier for you when you wanted to use awk in your scripting. Alright, thank you. We'll meet in the next session with the third chapter, first part of the 3rd chapter, sorry. Thank you.